Welcome to the Salt Circle Podcast. My name is Hank. With me, as always, is Ben, the Pooh. But throwing you off, this is not our Winnie the Pooh episode. That is a different episode that will air either before or after this. I haven't actually decided. We're just going to talk about Magic the Gathering.
That fucking cop-out. You know it. We actually had so many different really good ideas, and we just couldn't pick one. So we decided to do Magic instead. That's the reason why.
Yeah, totally.
And because we were getting into a conversation about it anyway, so we might as well just mash the record button and keep going.
Yes. So, why are people dumb, Ben? About EDH combo.
I don't know. A lot of reasons. I mean, the most recent one is that someone wanted pieces banned because they didn't like combo decks. And I get not liking combos. Like, I understand that, but especially, I guess the difference is, are you playing in a playgroup where someone has like a 60 or 75% deck and they're doing combos and they win sometimes, but half the time or more they just can't assemble the combo? Or is it fully fucking tuned and they're like, turn 4, you better watch out? And that's just a power level thing. Like, that's something that if you're going to be playing with people regularly, you need to figure that out. Meta is just so important, which it's easy for playing on tabletop to just forget about that because it's like, fuck it, I'll do whatever. I have 10,000 decks and I'll just pick one. And that makes forming a
we
meta.
have no meta.
Yeah.
We lightly have a meta.
We have a thing with counter spells and tutors. But it's not like
we don't go super heavy on tutors. We try not to go super heavy on counter spells, but those are unspoken, or those aren't like rules, hard and fast rules. Those are just we've had bad experiences. We have learned things. It's usually just games that wouldn't end is what I've tried to avoid.
Yeah.
That is the nightmare scenario.
Games that wouldn't end, and for tutors, just that combination of realizing that it's less fun.
It's just less makes your deck better, but also less interesting because your deck's just always going to do the same thing every time. Which is like what makes me play a deck and then go, I'm just going to play that different deck this time.
Yeah,
it's going to be fine too.
I mean,
as someone who builds lots of decks.
My Sliver deck got 1,000 times more fun after I changed my commander from the Tutor Lord to the Slivers are indestructible Lord. Yeah,
because as someone who has pretty good threat assessment, I think I could feel it. Like I just feel like his deck is just way less scary, so I don't have to like go after him hard. The way when you had Sliver Overlord as your commander, it's like, well, he's got these 2 slivers, so he could actually just win the game wherever he feels like it.
Yeah, and that was I guess it's a good or bad thing, because one thing that other people sometimes forget about, and we've talked about this when we were making decks for Dolphy Boys for Friday Frenzy, and that's how you wanted that when we were talking about power levels and stuff. I forget what were the things that you didn't want a lot of. Was it Wraths?
No, I definitely wanted Wraths. I didn't want tutors for sure. Yeah. And I didn't want else. I didn't want cards that would like stop people from playing Magic. Like
yeah. Oh, Armageddon. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
because that was in one of my lists. Yeah, land destruction. And
also like fucking stuff that's like, oh, your stuff doesn't untap ever.
Yes.
Like
just unfun.
Soft, like hard lock cards that just stop people from being able to do stuff. Like you need to have board wipes because games get out of control. But and honestly, I would say the problem with those decks was they didn't have enough ways to win.
Yeah.
Having played them, like They had plenty of like the ratio of board wipes to I win cards wasn't right. So those games went a little longer than probably
Yeah.
they needed to, because the decks didn't have that extra gas. But like it's also like you have to know how to deploy that stuff sometimes, so that's hard.
Absolutely. There are people like Crump who still can't do it. But that's just, and like for that circumstance, like for those decks, it makes sense. But a lot of people just sleep on the fact that a deck might have a combo in it, or it might have maybe the combo is the win con, or maybe there's secondary stuff, or maybe there's just these crazy cards that say fuck you, but those can be a win con, like, and you need that sometimes. Like, yeah. For my Sliver Overlord, half the time, actually, just straight up 100% of the time, I wasn't going to tutor for anything because I'd rather see what's on top of my deck. And if it got like, okay, we've been playing for 3 fucking hours and I want to go home, I tutored this and I win. Bye. Like that sort of thing.
Like, and for me, playing against that deck was stressful just because I could see I knew the things you could do with it. It's just like I knew too much about what that could do, and I could see exactly how it would win. So there was, in like my head as your opponent, there isn't room for me to go, yeah, but he'll just dick around. It's like,
and that's
when you can cast your slivers at instant speed and they have haste and you can just win instantly. I can't let that happen, Ben.
Yeah. And that was kind of, I forget what deck I was looking at building. It was the one with it was going to be like Atraxa was going to be the commander just because that's the only one. Or before partners or whatever. I mean, unless you do partners now.
Technically, those came out at the same time, Ben.
Did they?
Sure. Yes, those were the same
Okay.
year.
I just remember I was looking at Atraxa because it's the one that was also decent, but I think I probably talked about it with you a bit. I forget what the deck actually was, but in the end it became, no one at the table is going to believe that you're not doing things with Atraxa, even if you aren't.
Totally.
And
there are those commanders. They're they're just like, I on the Command Zone podcast, I love the way you've described it when you've played with people. Josh has described it as, okay, I'll kill you, and then I'll look at your deck, and it's like, yep, no, you were right. You didn't have any of those things.
Yeah. So that's kind of what Sliver Overlord turned into. Was like, I swear I'm not gonna do stuff unless it's like necessary. But
it's like, well, either way, we're just gonna kill you first, and then,
I mean, and a lot of times it was less, oh man, playing with Overlord, you piece of shit. It was more slivers, fuck that guy, which understandable. But also, that's why I kind of want. I'm looking forward to building the deep sea deck. No one says fuck that guy when he brings Leviathans to the table.
Those are fun. Those are just big, dumb, lumbering beasts.
It speaks to my heart, dude. Just big shit. I love it. And it's such a good price point too, because most of it is cheap as fuck, because Leviathan, like, nobody's playing
those
Leviathan.
Cards are not playable in other formats, like not rolling into fucking Modern with your
my Kraken Leviathan tribal. Oh, yeah. It's also biased because the first game I played with that deck went real well.
Yeah, that can happen. One good game, and it's fine. One bad game, and it's busted as hell.
Yeah, this is garbage.
Usually, I feel it in like, I don't have enough card draw. I don't have enough board wipes. I don't have enough ramp.
Yeah.
It's not tuned enough. Couldn't do enough.
Yeah. That's like my babe deck.
Yeah, that deck didn't do anything.
Did less. Well, I also, part of it is I just need to actually put in a mana base. Like I actually just don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
I spent so much time looking at it. I'm like, fuck it, just put in basics. Put in an even amount of basics. Nah, that didn't work well. Like, I need all the 5-color cards I can get my hands on, and then fetches. I don't know what on earth I would do for it if I built it in person, but for the purposes of tabletop, I might just go all out with the mana base.
I mean, that's usually what I do on... Unless I'm thinking of how I would want to play it in real life, at least, I will just do whatever.
Babe deck also real cheap, so that thought definitely came into my mind. Bird Maiden is too good.
I'm at least like hesitant to put in original duels in decks I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
in real life, I will, and there are enough other options that you don't have to have them. I would say.
No, not it's usually fine unless you're doing like full 5-color. But even then,
I also like I try to start these days when I'm building decks using the Battle Bond multiplayer lands. Mm-hmm. Those are one of my first ones because they don't always pop up as often because they're newer.
Yeah, I need to get some of those and add them to decks and stuff.
I have like the red green one and the blue black one, I think.
Nice.
That I got in packs.
Yeah, like my enchantment deck, I just use the one that I have built in real life on tabletop because it turns out that it's good enough to not need a stupid mana base. And actually in real life I have like enough fetches and then I have the shocks in it, so that's more than enough.
Totally. I mean, fetches and shocks, that's like all you're actually looking for anyway.
Yeah.
Because
they're not all the good fetches though.
Oh, yeah. But
that might be a lie.
But yeah.
I might have just straight up lied. It might actually... I'm going to check the list. It might just be the good shocks, and I'm just... It's only a few shocks.
There aren't other shocks. There are other fetches.
Or fetches, yeah,
They're like the panoramas. But, again, that combo, like having lands with multiple types on them and then ways to search for them... If you have that combo, that's like all.
I straight up fucking lied. I just have Flooded Strand, Misty Rainforest, and Windswept Heath. So you know.
Yeah.
And then I have the shocks.
Those are literally the best lands. Yeah. Except for original duels.
Yeah. So.
And that's honestly in EDH, original duels are even less good than they are in 1-on-1 because you have so much life. Like life is worth less.
That's kind of why I'm really looking to build. I mean, Merfolk is fun, but Deep Sea it's so much more fun than Merfolk in many ways.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I just like that fucking bounce spell that's like return all creatures except octopuses, serpents, krakens, leviathans. Like that's the whole reason I built that deck is just because that card exists.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's like, what if I had another Cyclonic Rift? Like, it's not an instant, but
yeah.
If I'm drawing Cyclonic Rift, also a lot of times I'm just gonna cast it. It's fine.
And see, that's why like part of it worked, or that's why it works for me personally, because I already got like green, white, blue. I tend to like those colors anyway, and now I have the lands for them. So the fact that I can just kind of, I don't mind. I'm not one of those people who's like, I need to have one of each card for my 40 EDH decks. Like, fuck that. I will be swapping them, thank you. And those are like,
that's decadence.
Yeah.
Is having different things for every deck. Or, just being more okay with lots of tap lands.
Mm-hmm.
So use some gates, use some scry lands.
Those fucking gates. The only thing
gates
I wish they are. I forget if I had. Yeah, I don't think I have a. Why can't I think of Nykthos Shrine to Nyx? Which is sad because that's actually a bit of money now.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Which I should have seen coming. Maybe I just wait for the return to Theros. Nah, they won't put it there because they'll be printing my enchantment lands. It
They're
won't
not
be.
gonna print
It won't be
enchantment
great.
lands.
No, they're fine.
I'm pretty positive they'll never do enchantment lands because of what a disaster artifact lands were.
Yeah.
Man, I loved artifact lands.
So
They were such a bad idea.
No,
Immediately, they were so
they're
clearly
a
going to be
fucking
broken.
terrible idea. Did I like?
I can't play them in vintage though, because like there are too many artifact things. So Stony Silence is like in every deck that's not an artifact deck,
Yeah, I
and
think.
it's like having a land that's just useless is not worth it.
I mean, I'm looking at it, and honestly, as far as I mean, yeah, there's plenty of ways that it could go fucking terribly. I don't think it would be as bad as artifacts, just because there's not enough that would interact with it terribly. And
I mean, unless they printed
unless they
Enchantment
also
Affinity.
yeah, unless they also do that bullshit in the same then obviously it's just dickhead.
Man, Mirrodin.
Like right now, like the only enchantress that actually works with it would theoretically work with them is Eidolon of Blossoms. That's the only one that says whenever an enchantment enters instead of cast.
Enters the battlefield.
So I checked because I'm like, okay, if all the enchantresses say enter, then that's that's not good. I
Yeah.
play a land and draw 5 cards.
I mean, yeah, the problem would be like, why would you do it unless you were doing a set with Enchantment Matters stuff? And then it would probably be too good.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to find
Actually-
that balance of like making it matter, but also
It would be
not going overboard. Which is literally the problem they
Yeah,
have every
I'm
time
actually-
they make
I'm
an
actually-
artifact sect.
well. I guess it would depend on what, because they have stuff like Thought Render Lamia, where it's the whenever an enchantment enters, discard.
Yeah.
And anything like that. But those all had a pretty high cost.
Yeah.
So like I'm trying to imagine, obviously, if they did more stuff like that, it would probably be fucking bomb in limited, and in standard it'd probably be something, depending on what the hypothetical standard scene would look like at that time. I don't know if it would be enough in modern, honestly. If your win con relied on you casting 1 or 2 5-drops. Certainly right now it wouldn't be enough.
No, that wouldn't work at all. They would have to have printed cards
Other
at
bullshit.
1, 2, or 3 mana. Yeah. It would require other stuff that exploited it.
Yeah.
Modern is like the fucking hardest format for a card to work in. For
You know,
for weird reasons.
they just do little enchantment lands for each color, and then they do
1,
a 2-drop. They do a 2-drop red enchantment that's whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield, deal 1 damage to target opponent or creature, and you know, we have fun.
That'd be a weird. Red just doesn't. Also, you're trying to make a red card that cares about enchantments, Ben.
They've done that
That's just
though.
weird.
They've done that.
Yeah, but
They had
yeah,
to.
but they only do that on like Theros, where
Yeah,
it's
that's
the
why this
enchantment play.
is Return to Theros.
Yeah. And they finally they tried to finally print some kind of red enchantment hate card in the last Commander set, I think.
Which one was that?
But it's terrible.
I don't
it's
even
like-
remember.
I don't even remember what it does. I think it is an
That bodes
enchantment
well.
too. It's really weak. It's not actually playable, but it was interesting in that it was a red card that was kind of enchantment hate.
Okay.
That was at least weird enough that Mark Rosewater signed off on it up for color pie reasons. Because that's just hard to do. Because red's not supposed to care about enchantments for some reason. It's one of their limitations.
That's yeah. Eh.
Look, the color pie is important unless you're playing Commander, in which you're literally looking for all the cards you can get that don't care.
That smash
break
that
the
color
color pie rule.
Yeah.
That's why Plane Shift is a great set for EDH.
There was a surprising amount of discussion on one of the Guilds of Ravnica cards. Guilds of Ravnica spoilers. Thank you. It is one of the split cards. Mm-hmm. It's the one that one half is hybrid mana, and you can search for a forest or a plains. Flower. So the one half is flower, and it's hybrid green-white. For those not in the know, that means you can use one of either. You can use green or white to cast it. And it's search your library for a basic forest or plains card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. And the other half is green-white for creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. So it's garbage, kind of.
Except for limited. But
yeah, except for limited. People had a surprisingly robust discussion on whether flower breaks the color pie or not. Because white being able to search for a forest, excuse you? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it breaks it to me.
it doesn't, just because white has so many cards that search for a plains. And this one...
Yeah.
And it has green on it.
I mean, there is a reason why my art deck, which is nature-based, has green and white. Like, those are the nature cards.
Yeah.
So that doesn't...
No, they definitely... I mean, the hybrid mana thing has always been weird, because I feel like they've talked... They've kind of talked out of both sides of their mouth about it sometimes, whether it's like, this card is a card that could be... It's not like it could be green or white. It's like it is both green or white, except it also has to be just one or the other, because it could be just in one of those decks.
Yeah.
They're always kind of playing with fire when they're doing those. But, like, also, who cares? Like, that's not a crazy effect to have in a white deck. It's not gonna... Like, what fucking super edge is that really giving you? You're playing a green deck if you're doing that anyway.
I mean, the same...
Like, your deck isn't breaking the color pie. It is an advantage if, like, you've got only a plains and you can play that card, but...
Because if they're going to break the color pie like that, maybe they'll print blue lightning stuff.
Well, they already did that.
Maybe they'll print green lightning stuff.
They've done that, too. It's just... Bee Sting exists.
Look.
And there's Iwaro Bee Sting.
It starts off all simple with the reserve list, and they reprint Cycle of Life because it's fucking trash and nobody wants it. And pretty soon we got OG duels in our booster packs. It's a slippery slope. Can't just break the color pie. Getting out here with
the color pie became the reserve list.
It's a perfect analogy.
Because
you go little, you go a lot.
People complaining about Magic on the internet want to talk about.
I mean, yeah. How many podcast episodes do you think there are just about the reserved list?
A lot.
Has to be tens of thousands. There's a lot of people that, like it sucks.
It's a thing. I mean, what sucks is that there are, like, investment groups buying up copies of reserve list cards.
Yeah.
Because they've just increased in value since they've been...
It's
just a collectible.
I feel so bad for the people who don't know that tabletop sim exists. They could be playing for free, man. More or less.
Or, just refuse to play with proxies.
Yeah.
Because that's literally just what you could do, is say, yeah, I'm just going to proxy these super expensive cards and play with them. Because I want to play with them.
Yeah,
I'm not doing
100%.
like, if you're not playing fucking EDH, I'm not playing official sanctioned Wizards tournament.
I'm not going to the GP and playing a sanctioned EDH event. We're in a fucking Taco Bell. So get off your high horse.
Yeah.
No, if I
feel weird about it playing with strangers, but playing with people you know, I wouldn't.
Yeah, people you know for sure. Even
But that's
strangers,
just because
like,
I don't want to have conversations with people.
yeah.
No.
I I mean, my thing would be, I guess, have a backup or just, hey, do you guys mind if I play with
Yeah.
proxies? You can't just play with proxies. All right, well then, peace. I'm out.
Yeah. No, that's also totally fair.
It's weird.
It's, you know,
Oh,
there's stuff.
man, I don't know why. This made me think of how. So they're doing 3 sets for Guilds of Ravnica block, right?
I think, but they haven't named the third one. They've only named these next two. I think
Yeah.
the third one's still just called Milk. Every time they talk about it.
Yeah. I'm just remembering how Dragon's Maze was. A lot of people didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
That third most expensive card was the Elemental token. So, that was great.
But I mean, new sets shouldn't. The cards in new sets shouldn't be worth money. They're like actively printing these cards currently. That doesn't make them
but
highly
like
collectible.
Yeah, but like there was Voice of Resurgence and then there was like nothing.
Yeah, no.
Like there was just nothing that was great in that. Like there's just nothing. Not even shocks. There was like what was it? I think someone said it's like a one. I forget what the chance was to get a shock in your Dragon's Maze pack, but it wasn't enough.
It was very low. It was very low.
I don't know.
I never bought that set, so I don't have.
I was like,
Dragon's Maze.
I was too new to it to care really.
Mm-hmm.
But in hindsight, like just remembering stuff that I like drafts and things, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh yeah, when people said, because there are also sets that I played where, they seemed bad at the time just because of what it was coming off of.
Yeah.
That were good. Like in terms of power level of stuff, have nut stuff, and in terms of like value or whatever, it's fine. But like Mercadian Mask set or Kamigawa block at the time, both were like felt like downturns in terms of power level and stuff, and both those sets have nuts cards.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like you need to wait for the dust to settle on that stuff, but
Dragon's Maze is just one that's like over time it's never gotten
yeah, no,
better.
I'm looking at
Yeah.
the set now. It's oof.
Part of it was
the highest cost card is $11.40, and
that's Voice
the
of
second
Resurgence.
highest, yeah,
Yeah.
and the second highest is $7.49. Master of Cruelties,
Okay.
and it
Yeah.
goes, and there are only 5 cards above $2.
Hell
Only
yeah.
three only like 3 cards that are above more than $3.
I think
There are only 3 cards that are worth more than the price of a pack.
yeah.
That's not great.
Part of the reason that a lot of people cite is that they try to do all 10 guilds in one set. And that's just hard to do. That's a lot.
Yeah, which they're not doing this time at all.
Yeah. I don't know.
That was like Kamigawa block. They was like, this is our Legends Matter set, except Legends are still only at rare, so you kind of can't tell.
Yeah.
Which is why they did all those Legends at Uncommon in Dominaria.
Which like.
Felt great. That is super good.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, I had to look up just to be sure, because for Commander, it's like, oh, you can use a legendary creature. And I'm just, I don't know. I'm so used to them being rare or mythic that I had to look it up to be sure. Like, can I use Slimefoot?
Yeah.
Oh, you
That's
absolutely
legendary.
can. Yeah. I don't know. It tripped me up. It's cool. I like it.
Are there? I think some of the legends are uncommon. I don't think Dominaria
Probably.
was the first time they did that,
Probably not.
but it was the first time in a long time, certainly.
There actually is some recent news that we could briefly touch on. Wizards recently made a deal with Amazon, I believe, and someone has also mentioned Target and Walmart, but I don't know. I don't know as much about that. The big one was Amazon. I
think it is also Amazon and Target for selling stuff online, which they didn't.
So
do
the new price is like people said 89, but I've been seeing 90. Either way,
it's not. Yeah, it's not actually that cheap.
But it's the big cry was that game stores are already getting fucked on boxes because they have to keep up with internet to begin with.
Yeah. Well, it was basically stores would use the Amazon marketplace to sell to liquidate their stock.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's
like so Wizards is sort of cutting in on their market by then selling the official stuff where you can get it with Prime real easily, and it's more, upfront and convenient through Amazon than going to those shops.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also they're like terrified of Amazon not upholding MSRP and undercutting them.
Yeah.
Their margins are slim.
The flip side I've seen was a dude who owns a game store weighed in on the issue, and he was like, honest to God, if this is going to make a large dent in your profit margin, your store is probably already on the way out because it's so slim to begin with on boxes. Like that's just not where they're making their money. So
when I hear this issue, it's kind of like, if your business is that fucking fragile, your business sounds like your business is bad anyway.
Yeah.
Like, this seems like it's bad for you, but how are you this fragile?
Mm-hmm.
Do you not have other... Like, why are you selling booster boxes then? If you actually cared about making money, why was this the thing you were doing? This doesn't seem like a good way to make money at all.
Yeah. And see, that's like... You have to. I think if a store is just doing Magic stuff or largely Magic, any TCG, honestly, like that's not good. You need to branch out, whether it's comics or like the store in town here, they do darts and disc golf stuff. Like, you have to branch out somewhat.
Find a way to actually make money. Like buying stuff from a major publisher that's widely available. Like, Amazon exists. It's actually kind of crazy that this stuff has been not sold on Amazon officially for all this time.
Yeah.
Like, that was a bubble that was clearly gonna burst at some point.
Then you have places like my game store. Man, selling Magic stuff and booster boxes, like there's low profit margins. We should put an industrial grade kitchen in the basement. Restaurants are easy.
Oh God.
Yep, that was a thing.
Restaurants always fail and don't make any money. Let's do that.
God. I mean, they're still going. It's been a year or two or something like that at least.
That's pretty good.
But I think like the margins on that are even smaller than they are on the cards.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out place that does good paninis in the bottom of a comic book shop is not as hot as people thought it would be, apparently.
Yeah, that sounds like
it's good.
Bad ideas.
Like the food, like it actually tastes good too. Is kind of like my problem with it, because if it was not in the basement, like it'd be all right. Like I think that's a cool idea. Like comic book shop, game store, whatever, and then you got like the restaurant part. It's almost, those video game bars or arcade bars or whatever. I think that's a neat idea. It's just not implemented.
It just sounds
right.
like your upfront presentation on stuff like that is always. I feel like the
They-
mistake that specialty shops always make is not making their front super accessible and like a normal store. That's like, or like a coffee shop, like, just because that's welcoming.
Yeah.
Whereas I've been to a lot of comic book shops like that are just like, you don't want people in here even. How do you?
Yeah. And see, their stuff it's pretty well organized, but I'm just thinking, especially with the recent rules for like drinking and stuff, this is a fucking college town. Get a liquor license and like board games and beer. Boom. Watch client, like, maybe you're not going to make a shitload of money, but certainly you would get people in the door. And
I mean, yeah, getting a liquor license is hard, but that's like where
there's
money
Wisconsin though, man. Like,
from everything I know about this stuff, the liquor is where the fucking money is.
and that's what it would be like. Would it be more rowdy? Absolutely. But are they going to be paying customers? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know what the best version of that would be. Like, because it would be real hard on a Friday night to have drunk people playing board games, and also we're going to run 2 8-pod drafts. Like, it's going to be hard to facilitate, both in space and just, yeah. But, like, that's I don't know. That's the gimmick, I feel like.
Yeah.
They're just the fact, I mean, that wouldn't work everywhere, but just the fact that you're in a college town in Wisconsin, like, give them some beer, man. Unfortunately, they've
the
gone
plan to me.
They've gone really hard on like family friendly stuff though. Has been their shtick. Like, if you can get away with a couple of dams or a hell here and there, but like, if you bust out a fuck, you'll get talked to, just because they're really trying to keep that. Like, they want a family to be able to come in and like teach their kid a board game or do stuff with kids. So, and it's fine. Makes it really awkward when people like resist it though. Look at those people who just know skills. Like, they draw their 5th land in a row and they're just like, fuck. Everybody's just like, the room just goes silent. They're kind of looking and they're like, everybody else gets to swear, I get one. And no, that's not really how it works though. Also, you just like screamed it. Like, it wasn't even under your breath or to like someone next to you. You just fucking yelled it, man. He doesn't play at the store anymore. Like, I think it was by his choice, but he doesn't play anymore.
I mean, if he can't control himself in public,
Yeah.
that makes sense then.
Yeah, it's interesting. But that's one I honestly don't. Actually, maybe that would be the fallback plan. Like, just keep doing what they're doing for now, and if they ever get to a point where they have to like make massive changes or go under, maybe just stop doing Magic stuff and be like the board game alcohol place. Last ditch effort. If you're going out, you might as well like go big, I guess.
Yeah.
Plus, like, all the people, a large amount of people that I know, whenever they do pre-release, they just go to a bar beforehand and get smashed before going anyway, so. They could be buying those drinks from you.
I don't. Events are like stressful and exhausting. I could never, like.
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't have that kind of energy.
this group, like, it's a large group, but it's like, it's basically Crump and like friend Mike and those guys. So they're like, Mike isn't these days, but they're like balls deep in Magic, like 24/7. So it's like they don't mind too much, I guess. But yeah, I couldn't do it. I like starting at midnight and going till 5. Dude, I can't do that anymore. Not with Magic. Like, it takes way too much thought power to do. Even just with EDH, like, it gets to be like 3 or 4, and I'm like, yeah, okay. I guess I'll discard the Cyclonic Rift. Wait, no.
Don't discard Cyclonic.
I don't know what my plan was. I forgot. It made perfect sense at the time, and it all just went so bad. It went so
I'll just
bad.
get rid of the best card in my deck, and then I won't have an answer when stuff gets out of control.
Yeah.
And then I can't win. And then I'll kill Hank. And everything will be fine.
What a game.
It'll be
what
fine.
What a fucking game. Yeah. Man.
Times.
I don't know. That was a pretty bad play. I'm trying to think if it's... I don't think it's as bad. The pinnacle is still when Crump looked at my hand, saw the Crucible of Worlds, and then did Armageddon. With no backup. Like, it was just one of those stall tactics, so...
I mean, if he didn't have a better play, I guess.
I mean, that's a pretty bad play.
It's a pretty bad play.
It did
I
seem
don't
like
know
it
what else
was
was
that
it.
dire.
Look, I'm just saying, in a vacuum, I don't know what his other options were.
Maybe enlist the other 2 people we were playing with to help him instead of fucking everyone over.
That sounds better.
That was
building a deck that has a useful card instead of Armageddon in it would also be a way I might go.
Like, it's bad enough on its own. The fact that, like, the other people at the table clearly you see him look at my hand, and then the next turn I lay down Crucible. Like, you just looked at his hand. What are you doing?
Look, if you want to destroy everyone's lands, don't play Armageddon. Play Elish Norn and Kamal.
Fucking
That's
Elish
what I
Norn.
do.
I hate Elish Norn so much. There have been so many bad times.
Look, it's great though. See, you give all their creatures -2/-2, and then you turn all their lands into 1/1 creatures.
Great.
That's you don't, and so then it's 2 cards. So then you just don't have to do it if people don't make you.
That's true.
It's just if you just have to punish someone, if you're just like, no, you need to learn a lesson. You can teach them a lesson. It's not just I have Armageddon in my hand and I have nothing else to do, so I'm gonna make this game miserable.
It's about to happen.
Yeah. That's the thing that's bad about mass land. Like, I think people don't like land destruction just because they get precious about their mana, which I think is honestly not the greatest thing. I think mass land destruction is bad because it's just like, well, now this game is just reset. Yeah. We just all have to draw. You have to sit there passing turns as people try to draw lands. Like, you just can't. No one can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I especially hate it if you're setting up to win the game because you have stuff and nobody else stuff. Like that's also, I'm kind of okay with it just because then you just win and everyone scoops.
Yeah, if you have something to follow up with.
It's the creating the stubborn thing of just everyone sitting here not doing anything. It's gross.
That was the thing. Like, my Sliver deck is a perfect example of that. I'll destroy all the lands. I don't give a fuck because I have all my slivers make mana. So, like, that is an easy win con instead of, well,
it's a little risky if that you do that and then someone evacuates.
It's real risky.
There are risks involved. That's all I'm saying.
Nah.
You could wind up when you put those cards in your deck. You do create the potential for the nightmare scenario. But there are other ways you can build potential the nightmare scenario in your decks that can be unforeseen. Like when I started playing EDH, I didn't realize how bad it was to just play the cards that double everyone's mana. Those cards create nightmare games.
Yeah. Those flashbacks to the fucking group hug
like
terror.
Yeah, like
Such a mess.
it's just bad. You shouldn't give decks that are greedy access to too much mana. It's not actually worth it. Not
Yeah.
worth it.
It also was definitely not worth, like, well, I guess I'm gonna mill everyone now, but in a really inefficient way. Yeah, that group hug game was never again.
Never again.
Is that three? Is that Bant? Is fluff hippo thing? Is that blue, white, green?
Yes, that's banned.
I got those colors, but I ain't playing that again. It's just not worth it.
There's like what's the fucking like wishmonger where anyone can just give their stuff protection
Great.
for 2 mana. The Arcadian Mask card.
Of course. Naturally.
It's a unicorn monger creature. It was originally printed as just a monger, but they've eroded it to be a unicorn also.
Yeah.
It's just a 3/3 for 4 mana that has tap 2 colorless. Target creature gains protection from the color of its controller's choice till end of turn. Any player may activate this ability.
Got him.
Got him.
Fucking, yeah. Any player may activate this ability. And that's when the shivers start going down my spine a little bit.
I know. Like, I love those cards in theory, but I just feel like it's just gonna be bad. Like chaos type decks just in EDH are just, they create problems. And I feel like they create more problems than they do in even like regular multiplayer for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure why. If it's I think it's partially because of like the higher life and the always having access to your commander stuff. Like just card decks are more designed to go late than in like a normal, if you're doing 60 card 20 life multiplayer, which again is like a bulk of what I played when I played Magic.
Yeah. No, that
So like just stuff wasn't as broken in the same ways as it is in EDH about certain stuff. Also, I just know more about Magic than I did then. I'm like better at Magic.
yeah, that'll happen. Life is a resource.
Life is a resource.
That was actually someone's solution to combo decks, was making, instead of 40 life, people start with 30 life. Because a lot of combo decks function on just using life to do all of their shit, or a lot of their shit.
I mean, it's why Infect is so good in EDH, because it's like it gets around life gain, and it's more efficient than commander damage.
Mm-hmm.
And fuck that guy who's playing Aloro. Even though that was me for a while, but
and I got a taste of it.
Passively gaining 2 life every turn.
Yeah.
Is it's dumb. Frankly.
Yeah, no, it makes so much. Even just the fucking I can't think of it. The stupid 2 enchantment combo where it's like you gain or lose any amount of life, and then everybody dies.
Yeah, where you play the 2 black enchantments and then you just win.
Yeah. Yay.
Black game's over. I mean, if you're building a white-black enchantment deck, though, how can you not put that in?
I mean, I could do it pretty easily. I could go without that pretty easily.
Yeah, you also built a do-nothing deck multiple times.
Not like multiple times. Like
I count
once.
at least twice.
Well, okay, what 2 times? Do tell.
Art deck,
Uh-huh.
Babe deck.
Babe deck has yet to be seen though.
What are you talking about? We played with it.
I vote that we wait for the verdict on that until when I get the mana base sorted out. I don't certainly right now. Certainly
Babe
right
deck
now.
is a do nothing. My Babe deck, I built it to do stuff. I'm not saying Babe deck is inherently unable to do stuff. I'm saying the way you built your Babe deck, did not build it to do stuff.
Okay, first off, my art deck won a game because I made someone else kill everyone at the table but me. So you're wrong. There's that.
It's still a mostly do nothing deck.
It's live until people get sick of playing and kill themselves. That's what it
Generally,
does.
yeah, no. Mostly I saw it win games and do well in, like, group hug situations.
Yeah. But Babe deck, I think Babe deck is less do nothing than art deck. Just because not only is there creatures and stuff, there's a lot less useless things. Like, there's enchantments that actually, they're not god tier, but they'll allow me to chunk a little bit of stuff. Instead of every 3 turns, I can remove 3 spore counters to prevent combat damage.
All I'm saying is weak creatures are weaker than normal in EDH.
Yeah, no, it is largely do nothing, but it's not only do nothing.
I mean, the important thing is it looks good.
It's, it's fun to play with. It's more fun to look at. That's the tag.
It's more fun to goldfish than it is to bring to a party.
Yeah, that's probably fairly true. I would say that's correct.
It's like the Joyra deck I built. I'm like, I love this deck, but I should never play it with humans.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's things that make me happy, but yeah. Like, I wish I could play it with people, but I shouldn't.
That sounds so accurate.
It's the part of the problem about certain cards I like. Like the fact that I love Tolarian Academy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
I really like broken artifact bullshit.
Some people are drawn to the fucking scum of the earth in terms of Magic cards. That's you.
Yeah. I'm also drawn to grizzly bears.
Bears and
I have a wide palette.
Bears and bullshit. Look,
yes, but it does. I do like being able to do things also. So that brings me back to the dark side.
I guess, yeah. Just ridiculous. You're ridiculous. Your bears are fucking flying, and
I had to have an answer to flyers. I lost a game because my bear deck had no answer for a flying
so
creature.
you sacrificed all of your integrity just to win a game.
So I put in artifacts that could deal with flyers. I looked for the best artifacts to deal with flyers. The best that I could find.
Did or does your bear deck have Aetherflux Reservoir in it? I forget.
No, it never had Aetherflux Reservoir.
Okay, I can remember. Wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, that's a deck I would put in as many decks as I could, but no, it was never in the bear deck. The bear deck never storms off like you'd need to.
Mm-hmm.
It goes off by Seedborn music.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorite cards.
Yeah, that's, it's just fucking bad.
If I'm building a deck with green in it, it's having Seedborn music in it. It's just
gross.
An auto-include. It's like Zendikar Resurgent. Zendikar Resurgent, auto-include in green decks. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, I say that, but I don't have it I don't have it in all my decks.
I mean, I wouldn't put it in a deck that cared about art that it didn't relate
No.
to?
But like, it's not in my enchantment deck.
That just sounds. Oh,
Maybe
if
it
you're not
should.
playing creatures, it's less.
I mean,
It's less good, but it's probably still worth it. Doubling all your mana is really good.
I mean,
Do you have Morari's Wake in that deck?
probably is worth it. No,
Morari's Wake would be worth it.
I don't think I have like
It's just good ramp.
much. Yeah, I don't really have much ramp itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I find ramp is
probably-
really. I feel like
probably,
that
yeah.
ramp. Again, that ramp is like win the game ramp because when you can do like multiple things in a turn is what can win. It wins you a game. If you're
Yeah,
just
for
doing
sure.
one thing every turn,
yeah,
you don't ever accumulate the like velocity to win.
yeah. And like, I guess it's probably even more relevant because I'm not casting a lot of creatures. Is worse. I'm casting them as fucking enchantments, so they cost even more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably worth putting in.
It's probably worth it.
I suppose. Fucking
I mean,
guy.
the thing that my bear deck used to have that it doesn't have anymore is Gaia's Cradle, but it does have Growing Rights of Itlock.
Okay.
But I
Gaia's
also
Cradle.
have again. I don't. That deck also had problems ramping up. Like when it had Gaia's Cradle in it, I needed Gaia's Cradle to be able to win. Like I didn't have enough a way to generate enough mana to do the things I needed to do to win the game.
Yeah.
To get my engines to run like Slate of Ancestry into and Phyrexian Processor, or Words of the Wild. Slate of Ancestry into Worlds of the Wild is my favorite combo. Where I turn all my card draw I would get into just bear tokens.
God. Fucking yeah. Your bear deck has, even before like you put all this stuff in it, it still has gotten out of hand.
Well, I did tone it down. I
Times.
took out most of the creatures that aren't bears.
Most.
Except for like Seedborn Muse.
Except for the one that wins me all the games.
Well, I
Not
took
all.
out
Most,
Woodland
probably
Bellower. No, because I took out Woodland Bellower, which was actually winning me games over and over again, and got boring because I was always my win con was wood. Instead of building a weird engine to create bear tokens, I was just getting Woodland Bellower
Yeah.
and making my stuff like everything has to be blocked by that spirit that can channel into a lore.
Sure.
Whose name I forget. That's one of my, again, another one of my favorite cards.
How many have you? I feel like every time I play against that deck and it wins, there's always a Seedborn Muse on the field. Is that accurate? Like half accurate?
No.
It's also been a while, so
Again, during the Woodland Bellower era, it was.
yeah,
I don't think I needed it actually
Yeah.
a lot of the time.
yeah, that's fair.
When I had better creatures that weren't, when I had like just better creatures that weren't bears, I was like winning off this beast every time. But yeah, like a lot of times it's Seaborn Muse, but it's really. The last time I won, it was definitely because I got Phyrexian Processor. Is like is one of the big cards. Because that
Okay.
actually,
Yeah.
because the thing is, like, I win through tokens, but I don't have that many cards that create tokens,
Yeah.
and I can't build in creature synergies because I don't have that many creatures because there aren't that many bears. Like,
I mean, they
one of
can't
the,
even print a proper legendary bear.
I know. They printed a bear for Vorthoses instead of people who actually play Magic. That card just should have been a beast, and then I
Yeah.
wouldn't have to care about it. Fucking Goreclaw.
But instead, God.
Look, he said that they heard the outcry from the people, and they will make a bear that cares about bears someday.
Thank God.
I don't even know that I want
God.
that, though. It's the other part. Like, part of the fun of the bear deck is how, like, I'm playing terrible creatures that nothing cares about, really.
Yeah, but what if it's better? What if they break bears?
I mean, how could they make that? That deck is already pretty good.
Yeah, but what if they make it? What if they print, like, what if power creep sets in and they print better bears?
Then the deck could become so good that I don't play it.
Nah, you should play it anyway. You have like the right to play it, you know. Like you played it when it wasn't full on, and then they break it, so you have rights.
They turn bears into slivers, where it's just like, oh god, it's bears.
That would be fucking amazing, though.
The part of bears are supposed to be 2/2s, though. Like you have to keep that flavor.
They're gonna be 2/2s and still be broke.
It's true. They're called hate bears.
Hate bears.
It's like that's how ingrained the 2/2 thing is in Magic. The term for 2/2 creatures that have an effect is hate bear.
Hate bear.
They're just a 2/2 creature that has a negative impact on their opponents.
Yeah.
And then they print fucking Goreclaw, and he only cares about creatures that are 4 power or more. Fucking bullshit. He cares about literally one bear. There's one 4/2 bear. No, there's also a 4/3 bear. I'm wrong. There are 2 bears.
That was a letdown. Like, I was pretty excited, and then I was pretty disappointed. Very quickly.
From legendary bear to cares about 4.
Oh, yeah.
Cards. It's like, oh my god, a legendary bear. What the fuck is this horse shit? I really just want to build a card from that new creature from GRN. Wherever you play a creature spell, you draw a card.
Which one's that?
I forget what it's called, but it's an elf.
I don't remember. Oh, fucking elves don't need more. Come on.
They kind of need a better commander, actually. Like, I was looking at building an elf deck, and I don't love any of the elf commanders. Like, really, the best one would be Rofellos, but he's bad because he's fucking too good.
For reasons.
He's like, he's super broken in EDH. As a commander, he might be okay in the 99, but as the commander, he's super busted.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fucking ridiculous, dude.
And it's a bummer, because it's a bummer to me, like, the cards that I really like that are bad at commander. All of them. Like Griselbrand. I wish I could play with
feel like that says a lot about you as a person and as a Magic player.
It does. I mean, again, my favorite deck I ever built was using overpowered cards to build a super inefficient engine.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite deck. Like, it was built to play 0 creatures, but use Glacial Chasm so that I could just live.
Yeah.
It was just built to do dumb stuff. Like, again, I'm mostly a Johnny type player where I like the weird interactive stuff. And a lot of, like, the best cards in Magic do weird broken stuff that have fun interactions. It's just you can easily... They're just too strong in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
But some of them are too strong in EDH to the point of being banned. Some of them aren't. Some of them are... crazy, like Seedborn Muse. That is a card I always loved in multiplayer games.
Seedborn Muse is fucking ridiculous. What was the? I forget. What does Prophet of? Yeah, what does Prophet of Krufix do that Seedborn Muse doesn't do? Doesn't it do something
also
else?
Gives all your creatures flash.
Right, that'll do it.
It's actually the thing you actually want the most when you have a Seedborn Muse is to also be able to play all your stuff on everyone's turn,
Yeah.
which Prophet inherently allowed you to do.
Yeah. I knew
Like
there was a reason. I knew
I
it did
didn't
something
know
else.
that
Was,
card existed until I learned about EDH. Like that one
yeah.
had came out at the time when I wasn't paying attention to match. Like, wait, there is a better Seedborn Muse?
Yeah.
Why did they print that? Seedborn Muse is already great. Although, again, Seedborn Muse is a card that's never played in any formats other than multiplayer.
I mean,
It's just a great multiplayer card.
I had my Sliver deck up and running at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least at a point before it was banned. Let me tell you, those were some good times. Those were some good times.
I mean, that was the thing with Prophet Crewfix. Literally every deck wants that card.
Yeah.
If you don't want that card, I don't know what your deck is doing. You're playing Boros.
Your deck. I mean, I don't know what your deck is doing, but you are bitching about having to go against another fucking Prophet Crewfix.
Oh, certainly. Yeah.
That's what your plan is.
Again, usually, look, there are people who see a broken card and are like, oh, I have to play against that. And then there are people that see a broken card and it's like, oh, I could use that.
Oh,
I could do stuff with that. Hell yeah.
Yep.
I see the potential for things I could do rather than the nightmare of going up against it. Because what's the worst that happens if I go up against it? I lose? I get to see cool things happen. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I don't care that much about winning. I like doing cool stuff. Which, if you're
like
doing
when
cool stuff, you're probably winning because you're doing stuff.
It's like when I, killed you with Infect.
Yeah.
You gotta respect Infect, even when it's the death
Gotta
of
respect
you.
it, man.
You
did it.
It's like me in Heroes. If I die to a Chen, I'm okay with this. Like, I fully support Chen kicking ass, even if it's my own ass.
Yeah, man. I do, and I feel like that the biggest hurdle for certain players is learning about that with like counter spells in Magic, because it's such a part of the game, but it's also definitely one of those things people struggle with, like playing against. They just because it can be super annoying. It can be the most annoying thing in the world if you're just trying to do something and you're playing counterspell decks that just don't let you do it.
After my friend had and then dismantled for obvious reasons a Talon Sky Summoner deck, if someone else ever pulls that out, I'm just dropping. I'm just gonna forfeit because I don't want everything to be countered every time.
Yeah, I think in multiplayer EDH, it's a fucking nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
I have a different feelings about it in one-on-one. In one-on-one, I think it's fine.
Yeah, in one-on-one, it at least, I mean, depending on what you're doing.
Again, those games are generally faster, also, but
depending on what you're doing,
not really in standard.
Yeah, it feels like you can overcome it though. Like especially with sap railings and stuff. When I was playing on Arena,
in one-on-one, at least, you can just be the aggro.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can be the aggressive person who's attacking, whereas so much of EDH is sitting back anyway.
Yeah.
That because the answer for a person who's playing a counterspell deck at a table of EDH is everyone else literally ganging up on them so they run out of counterspells. Now, if you have two people doing that, then you've entered the true nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, the thing with the balance against control in multiplayer is supposed to be that there are multiple people, so you can't have enough answers for everyone. And if you've drawn enough cards that have answers for everyone, you're gonna win.
Yeah, you're miles ahead.
That's just something else has gone wrong, so which happens. Like, again, because people are so willing to just sit back and try and do their thing in EDH, like a lot of times what happens in games is someone is just built up too much card draw and engine power, and they can just deal with everything. Which I feel like people don't often enough recognize. It's because it can be hard. It can be. It's one of those threat assessment things of like, this person is drawing cards. That's bad.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah. Oh, they're just drawing cards, not playing any. Well,
Like, they've already drawn 10 cards. What's another 5 more?
yeah. Man. See, my thing with counter spells is that I love having if it's a deck for it. And it's not every deck. Like my enchantment deck, I don't think I have any counter spells per se. I have some stuff that like is protection and weird, like I have Imprisoned in the Moon, like shit like that.
Yeah.
But there's no like
Answers.
counters. Yeah. Okay, I have Perplexing Chimera. That's kind of a counter, but not really. Anyway, but like in my Sliver deck, 1 mana drain. And let me tell you, when you have that mana drain and it's needed, it feels so good. Much better than like having 10 counter spells in the deck and you always have one. I need that.
Playing a version of the deck where you just literally have all counter spells is dumb and EDH.
It's gross. Counter, and it's kind of terrible because it's such an easy budget deck. Like,
I mean,
just
that's
throwing
the thing. It's
just
like,
throwing all the bad counter spells, and it's terrible.
yeah. Well, you could play Counterspell, which is a card that was printed forever, is common in a billion sets, and is too strong for current Magic to print.
I mean, and then all of the, like, not to mention, I'm just saying the Talron deck, like,
Yeah.
all the bouncing, all of that bullshit. There's so many cheap, shitty one-drop blue things that are terrible. You just play them all and you win. It's creatures. That's what Magic is about. Swinging with creatures.
No. Magic's not about creatures at all. You're wrong.
It's about big-ass creatures.
It's about engines. It's about building
engines.
Rube
Paradox?
Goldberg
It's about
machines.
Paradox Engine?
It's about building Rube Goldberg machines.
I've actually seen a lot of people calling for Paradox Engine to be banned as well.
Paradox Engine has been called to ban for a long time because it's.
I mean, it's fucking ridiculous.
Like, also Cloudstone Curio, but we've barely played with that card.
Which one is that?
It's definitely an enters the battlefield thing that has certain combos with it. Whenever you something enters the battlefield, you can return something to your hand that shares a type with it.
Whenever a non-artifact permanent comes into play under your control, you may return another permanent you control that shares a permanent type with it to its owner's hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd do it.
I mean, you can combo stuff with that like you can with Paradox Engine. Although Paradox Engine, I think, probably has more stuff you can. It's probably easier. Literally, although I'm not even sure about that.
It's probably horse.
You do have to, because you do need other pieces to make Paradox Engine work.
Yeah.
Cloudstone Curio, you might need fewer cards to go
for me
off.
with Paradox Engine, it was that's when I still had my Sliver deck, so that was an easy include. Like, hey, my Sliver's tapped for mana. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I don't think it actually works with my Merfolk deck. Because that commander, you're not. I forget how Paradox Engine is worded. Is it when stuff comes in under your control, or when you cast? Let's have a look.
Is it
Paradox Engine. Paradox Engine. Oh, whenever you cast a spell and tap all non-land permanents you control. That's important because for the commander, you're not casting. Well, I mean, you could still be casting stuff. Actually, still really broken in Kumena and Merfolk. Because Merfolk are cheap. I take it back. That should be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing about Paradox Engine that's so broken is that it's all non-land permanents, so it's all your mana rocks.
Yeah.
Which is what separates it from, say, Intruder Alarm, which is similar, but only for creatures.
Yeah.
And in blue, which has plenty of other broken stuff it could be doing anyway. Mm-hmm. My favorite thing about Paradox Engine, though, is that, again, in that Joyra Weatherlight Commander deck I was talking about, Paradox Engine was too slow for that deck.
Yeah. Yeah, there was...
It's like I'm looking to go off by playing 2 mana rocks over and over again. I don't have time to be playing a 5 mana spell.
Yeah, and see, even in my Sliver deck, like, it was... Basically, it only ever served one of 2 functions. Either I was playing it early, with the knowledge that it was probably going to get destroyed instead of something else. Like, they will focus on that instead of a Sliver that I want to keep alive. Or they're stupid and I win the game. Like, or it's late enough in the game that I play it and I win. So... Yeah. It's ridiculous. I love it. I'd be pissed if someone played it against me. Not as pissed as Aetherflux Reservoir. That's that card. I hate whenever you lay that card down. I just rage inside of me.
I just love it so much. I played a lot of it on Arena to get it out of my system. When I realized I could make a deck. I could play that in with standard cards. I was so happy.
That's fucking stupid. I hate that so much. I hate that card.
The worst part was when people would concede before I could fire it off, and I was trying to complete the 50 damage quests.
Mm-hmm. That would
It's the difference between completing the quest and not having completed the quest. It was funny though, because that when I started playing that deck, like literally everyone I played against I would have to go all the way and fire it off before the game ended, and then as that deck got more popular, it became quick scoops.
Yeah.
As soon as it was clear I had it.
I mean, but you're getting those wins though.
Exact. I mean, yeah, for that ranking that in quick play that didn't matter at all. And it super didn't matter when they changed how... So one of the cool things about Arena did was they changed how their matchmaking worked for quick play at a certain point, where what you were getting matched against is now determined by the deck you're playing.
Huh.
Specifically in like the quick play format. In Constructed, it's based on your rank, but in the casual format, it's literally like, so if you're playing tier 1 decks, you're being paired against tier 1 decks. If you're playing jank cards, you're getting paired against
What's the algorithm for that?
I don't know. I just know, like, if you're playing the starter decks, like the decks they give you,
okay, that
pair you against the decks they give you. If you're playing decks that are like standard meta, they're gonna pair you against standard meta decks. Beyond that, I don't know how well it works. It seemed to work pretty well. My fucking deck that was all about getting to the Revel and Riches combo by playing Brass's Bounty. I got a lot of wins with that deck.
Oh man.
My favorite part was there's a card in, I forget it was which of the Kaladesh sets it was, but it was like it's like a red mythic that's basically an X mana Chaos Warp for an artifact or a creature. So I would just target all my treasure tokens and then search my deck for big creatures that would all come out. That's a fun combo.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I I don't know how I feel still about like that algorithm stuff though. That feels like, oh, this is a good system until people start figuring out the system and then figuring like trying to skirt those lines. Like what is the best deck I can get away with that still puts me in the trash deck category?
Yeah, but that queue is only meant is like the whole focus of it is playing Magic fast and having fun. Like that's all they care about. Like you don't really your ranking doesn't matter for quick. Like they have a tiered like 3 match queue for like if you're actually competitive.
Have you ever played like Quick Match in Heroes of the Storm?
No, I've never done that.
Cause like I don't know, man.
No, totally. I'm just saying like
Yeah.
it's a single player game, so if people are dumb and shitty about it, okay. But like
Yeah.
like oh, and like the worst case scenario is you're playing decks that are a little bit better than they're supposed to be. Like like literally you're either I just don't want to have to be facing the actual like tuned standard decks if I'm bringing in
When
some
you're
weird
playing your
jank.
trash. When you're playing
Yeah.
your garbage.
If I'm playing something that's not like tuned, because that's more fun. Like the whole it solved the problem of like everyone was playing against a fairy every game,
Yeah.
which was
And
like the
that's-
reason they had to do it was because to solve that problem where you're like literally I'm trying to play with anything and I'm facing standard decks, like competitive imitations of competitive tiered standard decks or whatever. So, and that was a problem they needed to solve, and they would at least have a. I think that was a better solution than I've could think of otherwise.
I mean, my only question is if I'm playing Saprolings, am I gonna get put against blue-black control?
Probably not.
Oh,
Black
thank
control
Christ.
kind of stopped being a thing.
Oh,
Honestly,
God bless.
it became white-blue control.
Well, as long as I'm not...
Teferi
'cause
completely.
That's like my biggest...
Seeded,
That was my biggest problem. I was so
Yeah,
sick
no.
of seeing control.
Yeah, no. Back at that point when it was just pairing you against anyone, you're right. It was Scarab God over and over and over again.
Oh, it never got to that point.
Oh.
Like I was
You
only
conceded
half
before they played it.
I was only half joking when I said it got to the point where if they played an island and then a swamp, I just scooped.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't have time for this. Whatever. Makes it real hard to go back to playing drafting at a store. Someone's like thinking about what to do. I'm like, fuck, I can't just concede this. That's bad form. I'm here in person.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was bad when it seeped into your EDH play, because that was just sad.
Yeah. I mean, EDH
Because then you were
was also-
still there,
Yeah.
but you had conceded unnecessarily.
Did I? I don't think I conceded unnecessarily ever.
That definitely happened
Which-
at least twice.
Which times?
It was just you thought because of the board state that you were dead, and you didn't consider that someone else would do something to affect the game. In a way that
I
would make
remember.
it
I
so you
remember.
weren't
I remember
dead.
I remember the more recent conceding. Yeah. I forget what I was doing though. I don't know. I wouldn't say it seeped super bad. It might have just also been dragging on for me.
I just remember a time you did it and then didn't leave.
Yeah. Were we playing another game afterwards though?
I don't remember. I just remember.
I mean, I
that
also,
you
like-
conceded early. Again, I don't even remember what the situation was. I just remember you conceding because you
Was it the one where I-
felt like
Yeah.
you weren't gonna do anything, but then like, oh, what if someone else had a board wipe though?
Yeah.
Like that had occurred to you.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I think I remember the one you're talking about. Is it the one where I conceded and then you were right after me and did something?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. I felt bad, but like I still want to see how the game went. Like I'm still invested in watching it. I just didn't
Yeah,
want to
I
be a
just didn't
part of
get
it
what I just
anymore.
like. You didn't need to concede.
Yeah,
Could have still been in the game, and that was just like that's like
you gotta learn that
it
lesson
felt
though
like
sometimes.
you weren't reading the game. You were reading the game as like just in your own head of the things you could do and the things,
Yeah,
and you
it
weren't thinking about the other
pro-
possibilities of stuff that could happen.
probably a combination of that and just like, yeah. I mean, if I'm at that point, like,
No, it felt like you were just
yeah,
frustrated because of how the game was going. So you were like, "Oh yeah, I'll just
yeah,
scoop," like you would in if you were playing a one-on-one game. You're like, "Oh, I've lost the momentum here. It's over."
yeah.
Whereas in like an EDH game, usually that doesn't mean it's over.
See, I feel like it was a lot more dire than that. I'm pretty sure I was dead on the next turn. Was the case or something? Because it wasn't super. It's not like it was early into it, but eh, eh. You bet your ass if we have another game that goes till 5 a.m. though, I'm conceding the shit out of that. I'm out.
Yeah,
That was too
that's fair.
much. That was
Yeah, no.
that was actually no. The worst part about that was that I did lose that game and I still stayed. Oh, that one was bad.
Yes,
That
that was
one
for the
was the
stakes.
worst. I still hate myself for that sometimes. Like whenever we've been playing like with Renoka or whatever, start looking it's like 2:30 or 3. I'm looking at the clock. Like I hope somebody wins before this gets out of hand.
Yeah,
No, that was rough. But
it's definitely.
no, that definitely that taught me a lesson. It turns out that knowing that you would have been saved on the next turn feels a lot worse than what I did. Conceding and then seeing what could have been immediately.
Yeah.
Never
But yeah.
steered me wrong on Arena though.
Well, yeah, and one-on-one, you know
Yeah.
your options.
And also it's Arena, so fuck it. I'm out.
I mean, yeah.
It did
That
seep in probably seeped into my drafting a little bit.
I know they have said that like so there was a thing with they did like they've done trying to be doing fun events like Singleton and Momir, but they've had entry fees of gold. And they've said like specifically the reason they did that is because if they didn't do that people would just drop and concede too often. Whereas if they added the gold entry fee, people were much more likely to actually play out the games.
That makes a lot of sense.
And it's like, yeah, that tracks with human behavior. Yeah.
See, I was like, I've only done the drafting on there. I think once, maybe twice. But even in person, I've started just being like, I don't do it immediately. Like, I won't concede individual games. It will be like, I have lost 2 or 3 games at this point. Like, I'm done for the night. I'm just gonna drop. I don't need to play my last 2 rounds and get nothing, or next to nothing.
Oh, I only keep playing. I only ever kept playing in that stuff. It was there was a chance of winning something.
At our store, there is like you're guaranteed to get something because they redraft foils and rares.
Oh,
So you'll always get a little something. And in those cases, I usually just like if Crump is there, I'll be like, yo, just pick me up, whatever. I don't care. But it's I've also never. I don't know how to phrase this. It's not like I just drop and go like stew. Like I'll drop and I think there's been a couple times that I've come back and I'll do whatever else I was gonna do that night. One time I forget if it was pre-release or a normal draft. Like this guy was waiting to hang out with people, and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting fucked over here. I dropped. It's like, yo, you want to go to the bar? I'm like, yeah, let's fucking go. It was great. Like that was a top-notch night, and I would absolutely do it again. Like that was a good experience. Or sometimes we drop. Like if people are drafting or it's pre-release, like, are we all doing shitty? Yeah. Do y'all just want to drop and go to Father Fats? Yeah. They got bourbon smashed sweet potatoes over there and crab cakes. Let's do that instead. So, you know, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I'm just
I don't know. I also never gone to a Magic event with other people that I knew.
okay.
I've just never done it.
Yeah.
If I'm playing Magic with people I know, it's just hanging out
Yeah.
or whatever, much more casual. I've never gone to
I'm
an official thing with anyone.
I'm still excited by the idea of if they implement it in Arena eventually, or if we facilitate it on tabletop, like doing a draft with people is fun.
Yeah, I want
Like
to. I mean, my dream is we do a draft with the fucking AI generated cards. That's the thing.
I'm totally down for that. You said they're in tabletop now, like someone put a thing out or something.
Yeah, they're in the workshop.
Nice. Yeah, we should absolutely do that. Because I don't just like the combination of those fucking cards, but also one of my favorite parts of drafting is the actual drafting process, and you're just bantering with everyone. Like, I love that. So we should facilitate. I think we have enough people at this point. We could do it up. We could get it running, a little 6-man.
Yeah, it'd be super fun. I also just love the combo of those generated cards with the generated art. It's just such a dumb little thing.
Yeah. I've actually considered. I mean, it would be really cool to buy like proxies of them for stuff, but someone made a Star Wars set. They might be up to like. I don't think they do full sets for each, but they made like Star Wars cards, and then for Force Awakens and Last Jedi, at the very least, they did like little expansions. And apparently it's really good. Like, everything I've ever seen about it that comes up now and again on Reddit, like, people say that it's pretty well balanced. It's not like it's just, you know, oh, I want to do this thing, and then it plays like shit. And you can buy, like, a full-on, I think it's like $100 or something, maybe 200, if you get, like, all of the stuff that he's done, like, all the expansions and everything. And it's, like, full, like, decent quality proxy cards. And it's like set up to be drafted and everything. I've thought about it. The concept of Star Wars Magic is pretty tempting. Like Darth Vader Planeswalker.
Kill -3. Kill the younglings.
No, it's like -3. Destroy any number of creatures with power 2 or less or something. Defend their toughness 2 or less.
Yeah, just the choke.
Choke. No, we absolutely should do that. Or even just, like anything. Even just try to do like a 4-man stuff. Whatever we can. I want to play with those cards, man.
Yeah. Playing with those cards is a good idea. But I think we've gone on long enough.
Yeah. Hour and a half is a pretty good
I mean, I could keep going, but
yeah, no, that's the thing, right? Like this is why we just fall back on Magic.
yeah, man.
The fact that
fucking go.
The fact that this wasn't even like planned. It's not like we
No.
said 2 weeks ago that we're gonna do Magic. Literally, we were just talking about Magic. Like, hey, I guess.
We were like, we were not super enthused about our topic to talk about it right now, having just done a different podcast to this recording. Yeah, no,
Whatever. It's Magic. It's good.
it's fun. You can email us at saltcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Find us at soundcloud.com/saltcircle. We're on Twitter at saltcirclepod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music at Salt Circle Podcast. And you can find me on Twitter at Comic Panels.
And I'm on Twitter at bean_LP. I got nothing for an outro on this one.
Judge! Judge.